Welcome back to the Devil's Den. Chris, we haven't had much going on, honestly. We're in the international break. Well, I say that, but, we have a new manager now. It's official. Ruben Amorim is in the building at Manchester United. Big things coming. Chris, how you feeling with Ruben Amorim coming in?
Feeling good. I'm feeling great. He had his first training session today, so off to the races with him, and we have our first match, I think, on the weekend on Sunday against Ipswich. So it'll be a good test for him. We'll see how he lines up the squad. Be interesting to see what that first 11 is going to look like with this new system that he's implementing. So he's going to really stress that throughout the week, and then we'll get right to it on the weekend. And then the new era, it's upon us.
It
Super,
is
I'm super
indeed,
pumped.
Chris.
I'm very
It
excited.
is. And he gave an interview earlier this week, actually, on the
Oh
Manchester
yeah.
United page, and he had quite some interesting responses. One thing I really liked about Ruben Amorim's first interview was that he felt really honest and really open about almost everything. I mean, I know it's just a quick little interview with the club and stuff, but he wasn't giving BS answers. He wasn't giving these lies and these big aspirations right away. Because remember, I don't know if you remember, but Eric Ten Hag came in and he said, "Oh,
hmm
eras are meant to end, and Manchester
Yeah.
City and Liverpool, their eras are over, and all these different things." Which, I mean, I guess it's cool, it's ambitious, whatever. But I don't want a guy who's lying to me. And now we're at the point where Eric Ten Hag is gone, so he officially lied to us.
Yeah.
And not to mention, there was so many press conferences where Eric Ten Hag lied to us, and I get it. You can't always say everything that's going on behind the scenes, and you shouldn't really. But at the same time, Ruben Amorim's honesty was just really nice. What did you think of it?
Yeah. I mean, low key, just on Eric Ten Hag. I mean, he kind of did, or not. He ended the Klopp Pep era, but that era did end while he was there. So I don't
I
know
guess.
how he had an effect on that. Probably not. But thought it was funny. But yeah, no. Amarin's press conference was very good. He like he didn't give like those bullshit media answers. Like he did sound, very genuine, very honest. He said, we have high expectations coming in and we have to win games to he said we need time to build an identity, but to have that time we need to win games. So you have to win time by winning games. And that kind of, definitely resonated with me and a lot of other United fans, I'm sure, because he set the bar and then said we're going to do everything in our power to reach that bar and get those expectations in. So I'm excited. I think he speaks very well. Um, Hopefully, we see some good interviews in the future, and yeah, I'm just excited to see him get in and start implementing his identity because that was very key in what he was saying.
Oh, for sure. And not to mention, I think the interviewer asked him, "Oh, what are we going to see in this first match against Ipswich?" A lot of fans expecting a lot of things. They've seen, what you've done at Sporting, the formations you run, some of the tactics. And then he said, "Hey man, we've only got two trainings till the match. You can't move mountains," which I completely agree. I mean, the mood has been lifted, but it's not like he can really, go from what we've been doing all season to switching to his system like
Yeah,
that. So
exactly.
I'm not expecting a huge thing. He did say, which I was really liked, he said that you're going to see an idea. And if you see an idea of some sort of semblance of an actual system, I will be very proud. I'm not expecting it again because I think we should both be realistic. We haven't had a
Yeah,
great season. And if he can really just show us an idea of what he's got for the future, I'll be
yeah,
over the moon. I
yeah,
mean,
totally.
I say even if we lose, but realistically, it's Ipswich, so I think it'd be a great win for him. I mean, we have low expectations, but it's still a very winnable match. And is it a away match or is it
It's
home? I
away.
believe
Yeah,
it's away.
away.
Yeah, and so getting an away win under his belt in the first match would be huge. So I think it'd be great. Me personally, again, like I said earlier, Ipswich aren't that great of a team. I got them, probably getting relegated at the end of the season. They've had a few decent results, but I don't really see them doing too much. So I'm gonna say probably a 2-0 victory. That's what I'm gonna say. Chris, do you have a prediction for this weekend?
I'm gonna say 3-0.
Three
I think
nil.
we're gonna have, yeah,
Wow.
standout kind of poster first win under the new manager. Feeling
Okay.
optimistic about this one.
Okay. I like it. Moving on from that specific game, now that we have a new manager in, realistically, did the first 11 matches of the season even matter? Do they matter at this point? No,
No.
it didn't
Season
happen. Didn't
season
happen in
starts
our
this
eyes.
weekend. Season starts this weekend.
Season, exactly, Chris. Season starts this weekend. We've got a lot of games left still. And
Yep.
if you look at the table, although we are in 13th, we're really not that far off of top five, even top four, actually. We've got 15 points, and top four, Chelsea, is in third, actually, with 19 points. So realistically, Ruben Amorim has a chance to do something special. And when I say something special, I mean exceed those expectations. And I mean, the ceiling for us under Amorim this specific season for the rest of the season, I would say is top four. And if he reaches that, I think he'll have Manchester United
Yeah.
fans licking their chops. So, Chris, let's do a little rundown of the current table. And then I think both of us should do a little prediction with, we've got pretty much 2/3 of the season remaining. So we should both do a prediction on who we will see, everywhere else in the table. So starting off,
All right.
we've got Liverpool currently in first place and Manchester City second, unfortunately. Both teams, we both hate them as a fan base, obviously. Third, Chelsea with 19 points, like I said. Arsenal in fourth, and to be frank, they've not had a great season for their standards, especially for how great they've been doing
Yeah.
lately. A shock fifth team, Chris, Nottingham Forest. Very shocking. Did not expect to see them there.
No one would have expected that one.
Chris Wood is actually tied for second with 8 goals in the Premier League, which is, wow. Would not have expected that either. Pretty crazy. Brighton are in sixth. Another shock team there. Even seventh, another shock team. Fulham, Chris. Fulham are in seventh.
Yeah.
Newcastle
These are
in
not
eighth.
your typical top six teams you're seeing this year.
These aren't. Not one bit. And not to mention, like I was saying earlier, since those teams are there, like Ruben Amorim, if he can get the team going,
It's
those
there
teams
for
aren't
it's there
that.
for the taking.
Yeah, those teams aren't going to be consistent throughout the season, in my opinion. So it's there for the taking. We got Newcastle 8th, Aston Villa 9th, Tottenham 10th, Brentford 11th, Bournemouth 12th, Manchester United 13th, unfortunately. Is what it is. West Ham in 14th, Leicester 15th, Everton 16th, Ipswich, our opponents this weekend, in 17th. And then the current relegation bunch, Crystal Palace, Wolves, and Southampton. And honestly, the relegation battle is kind of looking nice. Apart from Southampton, really, it's looking like a nice relegation battle
Yeah.
that we'll be able to watch throughout the rest of the year. And one thing that I like about that is that a league like the Premier League, is so great because you've got relegation, so you've got those teams battling it out at the bottom that need to get wins. And so
hmm
I don't know. I'm excited to see how not even second half, the last 2/3 of the season finish out. But Chris, let's do our prediction. Who have you got in 20th? Currently at Southampton. Who you got in 20th?
I mean, Southampton are pretty bad, so I would kind of imagine them kind of sticking there. I don't really see them improving throughout the season, so I would say Southampton in 20th.
Interesting. Yeah, 17 through 20 all only have one win currently. And not to mention,
Yeah,
Southampton has a goal difference of -14. So pretty bad for
it's rough.
Southampton.
Yeah.
Chris, I'm gonna agree with you there. I think Southampton will stay in 20th. No shock there. 19th, Wolves are currently there. Are you changing them or are you picking a different
It's
team?
tough.
Who do you
The
think?
like the bottom like four. I mean, you could see. I don't see Palace getting relegated. So I definitely have Palace up higher on the table. Wolves, if they don't improve, maybe they've been in the league for a couple years. They usually like are somewhat stable. Um, but I don't know. I mean, looking at the current teams, I think the three teams that are going to be relegated are Southampton. hmm, I'll say Southampton, Wolves, and Ipswich. I'll say that those are the teams in 18th, 19th, and 20th.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, for me, Wolves have always been a team ever since they've come in the league that have never really. Actually, maybe was it last? Were they close to relegating last year? I can't even remember. They must have been down there at least, but
Yeah, they
they've
haven't
always
been
been a pretty
looking
solid.
good.
Yeah, but they've been
I
a
mean,
pretty
this
solid
this
side
season
since
they're
they've been
they're
in the league.
incredibly tough to play against.
They are.
for
I mean,
us.
maybe it's just
I
us.
hate
Maybe
I
it's just
hate
us.
Wolves at Molineux. It's like the worst game of our
Yeah,
season every year.
it's not fun. They've also spoiled a few home matches for us too, so
Yeah.
not always fun playing against them. I don't want to count them out, and I don't know why. I have this weird affinity for Wolves when I'm not watching them against Manchester United. So I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
say Wolves aren't getting relegated.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Ipswich in 19th and Everton in 17th. I'm saying Everton are gonna. I know they're
Finally,
a big.
Everton are going down.
They got
I
it
mean,
coming, man. And another
yeah,
reason I
the
want them
past
to
like
go
three
down is
years they've
because
been on that.
yeah, Jared Braithwaite, he needs to come to Manchester United. He needs to come to Manchester
Yeah.
United. He's another great player that we went for this past summer and we didn't get. So if they get relegated, they're gonna have to sell him for less. So
Yeah.
I kind of want them to
It's
get
true.
relegated. I never really liked
Everton are
Everton.
screwed. They're
Yeah,
I mean, they're building their new stadium too. So they're already in a lot of debt. And if they don't get the Premier League money next season, then they're even in more debt. So the last thing that club needs is relegation, but they have been in a relegation battle, I think, what, the last 3 or 4 seasons, they've been in that like 15th to 17th place. So
yeah,
I don't
it's
I
their
don't know if
time.
this year's gonna be their year finally.
Yeah, they got to go. They got to
But
go.
we'll
All right,
see.
let's do 17 to 11.
Okay.
17 currently Ipswich. Who you got in 17th?
I'll say Wolves in 17th. Wait,
Wolves.
no,
Okay,
no. I said Wolves are getting relegated.
you
I'll
did.
have Everton
Yeah.
in 17th.
Everton in 17th. Okay,
Yeah.
fair. I'm going to put Wolves in 17th. I think Wolves are
Okay.
going to sneak it out. Wolves are
Okay.
going to sneak it out in 17th. 16th, I'm going to go Crystal Palace because I still don't think they're going to have a
Yeah.
great year, but
Yeah.
I think they'll just stay
I,
there.
I I agree with you there. I have Crystal Palace at 16.
Yeah. And then 15th, I'm actually going to go for a bit of a shock here. I'm going to go Bournemouth. They're currently in 12th, but I feel like they're just going to have a bad second half of the season for some reason. I don't know why. So
Okay.
I'm going to put them
Okay.
in 15th. And then who do I have in 16th? I Wolves, Crystal Palace. Okay, so I'll go 14th. I'll go Leicester,
Okay.
and then 13th I'll go West Ham, and then 12th I'll go Brentford, and 11th I'll go Fulham. They're
Okay.
currently in 7th, but I'll put them in
Yeah.
11th.
Yeah.
So run me through your
All right.
16 through
So
11
16th to 11th. So I had Everton at
at
17th,
17.
Palace at 16th. I'll keep Leicester at 15th. Um, I think they're kind of just going to be in that area, and they'll end up there at the end of the season. In
Yeah.
14th, I'll go Bournemouth. I agree with you. I think they're going to fall off just a bit. I mean, a couple places only. Um, and then in 13th, I'll go Brentford. In 12th, I'll go West Ham, and 11th, I'll also go Fulham. I think I mean, they've had a good start to the season, but I think they're definitely gonna fall off a bit towards the
Yeah,
tail end.
it's unsustainable. All right, let's
Yep.
do our 10, 8 through 10.
Yep.
You go first.
8 through 10. So in 10th, I will have to go with Newcastle. I
Cool.
think they're also gonna kind of decrease a little bit in the season. Ninth, I'll go Brighton. And in eighth, I'll go Nottingham Forest. I think those
Okay.
teams that are like in that like fourth to sixth range are like teams that you don't really see consistently playing, well through that, don't have that legs to play the entire season at that high level. So I think those teams will drop off a bit, but not by much. I mean, they've been playing well and they do deserve to be in those places now. So I don't want to see them
Okay. Okay.
fall off too much, but yeah. All right.
Okay.
What about you?
10th, I'm going to go with, and I know I said it was a shock that they're currently in 5th, but I'm going to go with Nottingham Forest in 10th because I just don't think it's sustainable. Chris
Yeah.
Wood scoring 8 goals so far this season is insane. Kudos to him, but I'm not so sure that he's going to be able to sustain that. So I'm going to put them in 10th, and then I'm going to go Newcastle in 9th. I agree with you there. I'm going to put Aston Villa at 8th, actually, just because I think that they're going to struggle having European competition because they're in Europa League,
hmm
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're in the Europa League.
Yeah.
Manchester United could face them. Maybe are they? Or are they in the Conference League?
Wait.
No, I think they're in Europa League.
I know
Wait, let me check
No, I
last
think they're in the
year's
Conference
standings.
League.
They got fourth last year. They're in the Champions League.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
completely forgot. Remember
Wait,
they
yeah.
played
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're definitely in the
they played
Champions League.
Bayern and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Oh, they have. Wait, Champions League table. Champions League table. Let's check out the Champions League
forgot
table.
about
How
that.
are they doing there? They're
I
in
know they beat
eighth in the
Bayern.
Champions League right
They beat
now.
Bayern at home.
They've won three and lost one in the Champions League. Wow, shout out to them.
It's
But
pretty
I think
good.
it has taken a little bit of a toll on their league form because that's why they're currently in ninth in my opinion. Because
Yeah.
last year they were kicking. I mean, they got fourth last year, so I'm gonna
Hmm.
put them in eighth because I just don't think them going for it in European competition is sustainable. But hey, wow,
Yeah.
eighth place currently in the Champions League. That's really impressive. 3 wins out of 4. Wow. Shout out to them. But yeah, I'll put them in eighth. Then sixth and seventh, I'm gonna go Brighton in seventh. I'm gonna go Manchester United in sixth. I hate to say it, but I mean, I think that would be a success for Emirates in his
That's
first
a big
season.
change from 13th to 6th.
Yeah, so I think that would
Seven
be a big
places.
success. That
Yeah.
would be a big success for him. So I'm gonna put Manchester United at sixth. Who you got 7 to 6?
All right, 6th and 7th. I'll put um who am I still sitting on? I think I don't did I say Villa? I think I'll have if I didn't say it already, Spurs and Villa for 6th and 7th.
Yeah, I think you did.
I'll have Villa 7th and Spurs 6th.
Okay. Okay. Wow, so you're putting United in the top 5. That's interesting.
United in the top
I was
5.
gonna put I was gonna put Tottenham at fifth because I think
Okay.
as soon as they leave European competition, I don't know why, but I feel like they're
Yeah.
just gonna. I feel like they're gonna have a better second half of the season. But maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like Tottenham fans always tell me they have a bad second half of the season. All right, you know
Hmm.
what? Because of that, actually, I've just convinced myself in my head that they're not going to get fifth. So I'm going to put them in sixth. I'm going to put Manchester United at fifth, actually.
All right. All
So I'm
right.
moving Manchester United up to fifth. Who are you putting at fifth?
5th, I am gonna put Arsenal at 5th.
Wow,
I don't
Christians.
see them
Okay.
steadying this ship at all.
Wow, you think it's going to get worse for them?
Granted they are without Odegaard. Do they have
He's
any
coming
other
back.
big he's coming back, yeah. But is that they had a couple other like big names out, right?
I think Rice has had a few like minor injuries, but nothing crazy. I can't recall. I don't really watch Arsenal. Sorry, so I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
Wow,
they have not
fifth.
been convincing at all. I mean, they're in fourth now. Um, so they haven't been they're not the Arsenal they're not playing as well as they were, and that's kind of been what's sustaining them. So, if Arteta's whether he's, going to be losing the dressing room, he's been there for a while, hasn't been he's finished like second to first every year. So, I don't know. This year it's not their year is my guess. Um, and all right, so that's fifth. So then we just have top four left, right?
Correct. Mundo. Fourth place. Who you got?
Fourth place, I will. I'll go Man United at fourth.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I
Nice.
wanna say that we're gonna sneak into the top four.
Wow.
I think. I mean, just you have to look at what Amram has done this season. I know he's had 3 full years at Sporting to drill his identity and get the players in and he wants and everything. So he like has a well ready-made squad at Sporting. That's why they've done excellent. But you don't win like 10 out of 10, 11 out of 11 if if you don't know what you're doing. So I do see him really steadying the ship here because we do have good players who can play in the system. It's been lacking that, like we said earlier, the identity and the idea and stuff. So I think if you get that instilled right away and possibly make some January signings, those could be key, um, especially in the midfield department. Then I think it could be huge for our you know success in the second half of the season. Because I mean, just looking at the points now, we are 13th with 15 points. Arsenal are in fourth with 19 points. So there's a 4 point gap between 13th and in third. Chelsea also have 19 points in third. So 4 points is separating almost 10 places in the table. So it's not like someone down 12th or 13th is not able to get up if they're consistent enough and win matches. So as long as we, build our identity and get the system in and get our players playing that system well, if we play well, we're going to win games. And if we stay consistent, then we definitely can rise up into that top four spot. So yeah, I mean, I know it's very optimistic, and anytime we've been optimistic in the past, it's usually failed us. So, um, but just no lack of trying, of hoping, I'd say.
I
But
respect the optimism. I mean,
yeah,
like you said, I think our optimism has been killed upon, or sorry, killed many
so
times.
bad.
But yeah, there was a certain point I might have said something on the podcast where I'm just like, dude, like I'm too tired from watching this dang team, man.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. I guess we got the new manager, new optimism. We'll see what happens. A new
we'll
hope,
see.
a little
We'll
Star
see.
Wars right there. All right, fourth place. You got them. Okay, interesting. I'm gonna put Chelsea in fourth place, only because I think they'll still be
Okay.
competitive, but they are a very young team, and I think there are going to be
Yeah.
some moments where the depth is going to be a bit of a problem, only because players might be a little bit frustrated with minutes and stuff like that. We'll see what happens with Jadon Sancho, but I don't know. I feel like they just fourth would be. I think that would still be huge for Enzo Maresca to get fourth in his
Oh yeah.
first full season. Well, actually, it's his first season in general. So yeah, fourth for them would be huge, anyways. So I think that'd still be huge. So I'm gonna put them in fourth. Third, I'm gonna go with Arsenal. I think they're just gonna
All right.
coast kind of the third, in my opinion, because I still think they have a
Mm-hmm.
quality team, and I still think that Arteta is a good manager. But I don't know, man. I'm not convinced that he's the guy to really win them the league. I think last year was kind of their chance, and now that you can see Liverpool have been completely rejuvenated. Manchester City are just Manchester City. So with those two guys in there, it's really going to be a big hill for Arsenal to be able to get
Mm-hmm.
over the hump and actually challenge this season. I don't think they can. They're already 9 points behind league leaders Liverpool. I think that gap is only going to get larger. I think they'll probably finish maybe 15 to 20 points behind Liverpool or City. So I'm going to put Arsenal in third. Who you got in third?
Third, I'll go Chelsea. I'll just keep
Oh,
them
okay.
where they are now. I don't really see them breaking into the top two over Liverpool and City. Um, so as long as they, keep doing what they're doing and hopefully they get some like that Sanchez situation figured out and stuff. But yeah, I think they defied all the odds and done, pretty well this season and above expectations. So as long as they, just keep doing what they're doing, I think they could keep that third spot finished.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so for top two, we both have obviously Manchester City and Liverpool in our top
Unfortunately.
two. And in previous years, it's kind of just been a shoe in to say, oh, Manchester City are going to win it. Manchester City are going to win the league. And even if they weren't in a spot where you think they win the league, you would still say, oh, they're going to have a run. They're going to have a run in the second half of the season where they're going to win the league. So, Chris, I think it'd be fun if we do a little countdown and then we both shout out which team we got winning the league by the end
Okay.
of the season.
All
Okay.
right.
And I mean, it's a lose lose situation for us.
It's
So
a
we can
lose
kind of
lose.
just
This this
not
pain
really
this pains
care.
me.
Exactly. It's not like we're celebrating it.
Yeah.
We're just being realistic.
Yeah.
So hopefully other fans can realize that Manchester United fans are realistic. At least we are. So let's do a countdown. Five, four, three, two, one. Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
That
I
that
mean,
hurt that hurts so much saying that.
it hurts to say. It sounds like we're cheering, but we're really not. We're dying
No,
inside, and
no. I feel
I
dead.
think
I feel dead inside.
we're both very jealous that they got the good Dutch manager. Our
Yeah.
Dutch manager is currently on the couch at home. So, you know what? Fair enough, Liverpool. Hey, but you know what? They could still lose the league. I'm personally out of the current top four. I'd most likely love if Chelsea won the league out of those guys, but still, it's
Oh,
not like we'd
100%.
like any of
Yeah.
those teams to win the league. But hey, if Chelsea can make its random title push, I go for it. But I don't see that happening. I
I'm
see
there
Liverpool
for it.
winning the league.
Yeah. Me neither.
Liverpool have been absolutely dominant in every single competition. I mean, Mohamed Salah is Mohamed Salah. He's
Yeah.
timeless. Great player. As much as we hate him as Manchester United fans, he is a fantastic footballer.
Hmm.
Luis Diaz has been phenomenal for them. Their midfield has been much better than it was last year. Ryan Gravenberch has made strides this year under Arne Slot. I
Yeah,
think that you can't really. There's nothing wrong you can say about Liverpool. I mean, they've only had one loss this season in the Premier League, so pretty darn good start to the season for them. Pretty envious of what Arne Slot's doing there, but
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We can move on now from the league table. We got one more thing to speak about before we do a little fun thing. Some interesting news coming out lately out of a certain Tottenham camp
yeah,
that a certain player has received some punishment. Chris, can you tell us more about it?
yeah. Uh, Bentaker from Spurs was for an interview he gave in June of this year, June 2024. So what is that? Uh, five,
Earlier this
six,
summer.
5 months ago? Like, yeah, in the summer, he
Yeah.
gave an interview, um, where he said something along the line of like Son, his teammate at Spurs, looked like his cousin, so a racial in comment, and then he was fined £100,000 by the FA plus a 7 match ban in all English
Yeah.
competitions. I mean, it's pretty crazy that this happened, now for something that came out in June, but yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Spencer?
Yeah, so it happened in June. It was while he was away with the Uruguayan team. It might have been away with the Uruguayan team. It doesn't really say. It said it was in Uruguay on some television channel there. It
Yeah,
doesn't really give that many
maybe during the
details
Copa
of,
America, I don't know.
yeah, potentially, but it doesn't really give too many great details of what exactly happened and how it really
No.
happened. It basically kind of just says in these reports that he had mentioned that Heung-min Son, his teammate, looks like Son's cousins, and it was perceived as racist. Apparently, in some of the articles we've been reading, he went back to the Spurs camp later in the summer and he apologized profusely to Son, his teammate, which Son also has come out in reports saying that he could feel that he was sorry and he's still his brother and they're still good
Uh-huh.
friends. So I think Son, as according to reports, it doesn't seem like Son is insanely bothered by it. So it's interesting that the FA decides what the punishment is when the guy who should be offended by it isn't too offended by it. It seems like, but obviously you got to take these matters seriously and you got to look at all the
Hmm.
facts. And it's taken them a while to come to their decision, but they've come to a
Yeah,
decision. I'm a little curious. How do they come up with these specific match bans? I guess we haven't really looked
I don't
into the
know.
exact rule book of
It
is there an
was
exact protocol because these
something
things don't
with,
really have protocols.
yeah.
But
Well, they gave a fine along the lines of it was a something about a media interview. So they have like a certain standards and things that you can't say in a media interview, whether it's in England or in any country. Anytime you're talking to a press or reporter or something, and if you say something that goes against their code of conduct, their rules, then you get certain fines for it. I don't know how they determined the, intensity of the fine or how they came up with, 7 matches was the right amount of matches or £100,000 was the right number. Like I don't know how they come up with those figures, but that's a pretty big punishment, I'd say. Don't you think? I mean, for that
it is a big
fine
punishment. I
plus
mean,
that game match ban, I mean, what are some of those matches here he's going to be missing are
yeah,
pretty
he'll be
like,
missing
I
some
mean,
pretty
it's
big
a
matches.
lot of matches.
It's I think it said that he'll be missing a Chelsea match in the league, a Manchester City match, Liverpool match, three huge matches in the league, and then
I
I
know
think
a
he's
Man
also
United
going to
match too,
miss.
I think.
He's going to miss the yeah. It's going to be the League Cup quarterfinal match against Manchester United, which I guess I haven't really been tracking Spurs too often, but I'm pretty sure he's a big part of their midfield. I mean, I know he's a pretty talented player, and I think he scored against Manchester United maybe once or twice, but that's a big loss. I mean, that's a lot of games, 7 matches domestically. He can still play in the Europa League because it was only
Yeah.
for a
I
domestic ban.
mean,
But it's
unless
still,
UEFA
it's
step
just,
in now.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But it's good that leagues are taking these sort of things not lightly because racism in
Yeah.
any form is not okay, obviously, and anytime that happens, it should be punished, and people should obviously learn from their mistakes. But in my opinion, I'm not like big on the whole cancel culture. So I don't want to get too into politics, but obviously I think that you've had certain circumstances where players have said things that have gotten misconstrued or taken out of context. Like back in, gosh, I can't remember what year it was. It must have been 3 or 4 years ago or something when Cavani was on Manchester United.
Oh
He
yeah.
had, yeah, I think he had played a song on one of his Instagram posts where the song had said something, or he had put some text on one of his
It was like an
Instagram
Instagram
stories or
story, I
something.
think.
Yeah, and it was a Spanish word that doesn't necessarily mean anything racist in his, I guess, in what he thought, but it had come across kind of bad. So there was an investigation into that. I don't remember if he get a suspension for that. I don't
He
think he
got
did.
he got fined, I think.
He got fined, but he didn't get a match suspension.
I don't think
Um,
so.
yeah, and then earlier, I want to say it was this year. I can't remember, but Enzo Fernandez, an Argentinian midfielder for Chelsea, after they'd won the Copa with Argentina, him and his
Hmm.
buddies were singing a song on the team bus, and he was, on his story, whatever, celebrating. And the song had mentioned something about, I don't remember the exact, quote or the exact
Hmm.
song, but it had mentioned something about how the French national team, their players a lot of them are from Africa, and I don't know if it was making fun of them or not, but it had to have some sort of racial context because Enzo Fernandez came out and had apologized and said it was out of character, and he
Yeah.
condemns any type of racism and things like that. And it's interesting because one of his teammates, Wesley Fofana, is an African French player, and so he didn't take that very lightly. But I don't believe, did Enzo Fernandez get a match ban for that? I don't think he did.
I don't think
Let me
so.
check on that. Enzo Fernandez punishment. Yeah, so he avoided any FA ban over the racist chant, and it's just interesting that some of these chants or some of these instances, they'll give big match bans like they are to Bentancur here, when I don't think he really had any malicious intent. Obviously, I'm not in his brain. I don't want to speak for him, but it seemed like him
Yeah.
and Son had squashed the beef pretty quickly, but the FA had said otherwise. So, it's interesting. We'll see how that impacts Spurs. They've got
Yeah.
7 matches without him, and we'll see if that really has an impact in the Manchester United match. But yeah, obviously, we both think, racism in any sort of form is deplorable, and the FA should investigate things like that. But it's interesting to see how they come up with these bans. But
Yeah.
moving on, hopefully Ruben Amorim can
Yep.
come through this weekend against Ipswich. Make sure you guys
Yep.
tune into that, and we will see you guys on the flippity flop. Y'all have a good one.
Peace.
Peace.